Fast as lightning, sharp as a sword. Greetings, YouTube. I'm Lightning Sword, and before we get started on the latest episode, I want to take a moment to talk about Spike episodes. They're kind of a mixed bag. Episodes like Owl's Well That Ends Well, Dragon Quest, Spike at Your Service, and Inspiration Manifestation kind of fall flat, some worse than others. He isn't even treated well in episodes that are not about him, like Fall Weather Friends, Simple Ways, Winter Wrap-Up, It's About Time. He's not even a character there, just overused, overabused comic relief. Then we get episodes like Secret of My Excess, Equestria Games, and Power Ponies that not only treat Spike fairly well, but show the best of his character and development for later on. And some episodes not about him, like The Crystal Empire, What About Discord, and The Crystalling, show Spike as competent, loyal, and overall a top-notch character that doesn't need to rely on slapstick to be humorous and likable. That being said, I dreaded this episode. Spike hasn't been represented well lately, and no episode illustrated that better than the confused, contradictory mess that was Princess Spike. Then came the latest episode, Gauntlet of Fire. And ladies and gentlemen, Spike is back on top. The good news, we finally get an episode that wasn't written by Josh Haber. Better news, this episode is brought to us by the fantastic team of Joanna Lewis and Christine Sunko, who gave us the gems Rarity Investigates, Castle Sweet Castle, and the Hooffields and the McColts. High hopes already. Let's get started. We begin with business as usual. Rarity abusing Spike's affections for her own ends.
Thanks for being my basket holder, Spike. Basket holder? I thought I was your bodyguard. What? Oh, yes, that of course too.
I love Rarity, but this is the one thing I dislike most about her. But it's hardly her fault with the writers copping out by refusing to resolve Spike's feelings for her maturely and instead choosing to pretend it never happened, hoping we will too. But I digress. So while this is happening, Spike starts glowing for no reason. What? Spike is evolving! Oh dear God, let's hope not. So the episode pulls a How to Train Your Dragon on us and tells us that Spike, and all the other dragons in Equestria, are being summoned by the Dragon Lord. What, you mean this guy? Also, I find it fascinating that Rarity spent 2 minutes looking completely filthy and said not a single word about it. So when Spike asks Rarity and Twilight to go with him, this is what happens.
Oh my goodness, I'd love to. We are sadly lacking any information on dragon culture and customs. I could research them, maybe even write an article. This could be my chance to make a great contribution to the knowledge of Equestria. And be there for Spike, of course.
Temporary selfishness? I expect that kind of shit from Rainbow Dash. And so, in the land of the dragons, we get a return of some old friends.
Hey, look! It's our old friend Sparkle Warkle.
It's nice to see you too, Garble.
I didn't say it was nice to see you. It's not. I don't like you.
Sorry, evidently sarcasm goes right over this guy. I should have gone with parasitic dicks. Anyway, the Dragon Lord, Torch, states that he's about to step down, and his successor is whomever can win the Gauntlet of Fire, a dragon-exclusive event that includes retrieving a special scepter from the heart of a volcano. And yes, the Dragon Lord's daughter is kind of hot. So Spike and his disguised friends try to tip away from the action, while Princess Ember tries to convince Daddy to let her play.
I'm smarter than most of these boulderheads, and you know it.
Being smart won't help you win this gauntlet. It was designed for a big, strong dragon to win, because it takes a big, strong dragon to lead. Besides, I should know.
What a big happy family we got here.
But when the group tries to leave, they overhear the other dragons' plans for the rest of Equestria once they become Dragon Lord, and it's not pretty. So Spike decides to take it upon himself to compete anyway. This kid has balls of steel. The first task of the Gauntlet is crossing the sea to get to the base of the volcano. And through a combination of Spike not having wings and Garble being an asshat, Spike ends up swimming there. Minor issue. This makes things just a bit tricky. On the way over, Spike saves the life of another dragon, who turns out to be, you guessed it, Princess Ember. She's competing to prove herself to her dad. No, we haven't seen that before. Now the next leg of the gauntlet is to climb the mountain, while at the same time dodging a bunch of lizard-looking creeps throwing rocks. God, this reminds me of those levels from Donkey Kong Country 3 with the little monkey turds throwing shit at you. I hated those guys. So Ember helps Spike hide Twilight and Rarity, leading him to believe she's not as much of a jerk as the other dragons. Certainly not as much as that guy.
Enough time making small talk. Get it? Because you're too small to win this. I'm funny.
Oh, by the way, that's Vincent Tong. Same voice as Flash Sentry. You'll thank me later. Anyway, Spike proposes a partnership, which Ember reluctantly accepts, and they get to the top of the mountain together, where they move on to the last leg.
I think we go through there.
How about no? Actually, yes. They go inside the mountain and straight on through the chompers. Also, I've noticed quite a bit of garble abuse in this episode. Not that I have a problem with this, mind you, in fact the episode's better for it. But I'm noticing a bit of a trend with MLP episodes in the way they treat their antagonists. Flim and Flam, peddling phony wares, run out of town. Tyrek, tried to destroy Equestria, imprisoned in Tartarus. Sombra, tried to take over the Crystal Empire again. Blown up. Guido, fairly traded his rock pouch for Pinkie Pie's party cannon. Nervous breakdown. Garble, obnoxious bullying douchebag, repeatedly and harshly injured. Not that they didn't deserve any of that, but what do all of these characters have in common? Yep, that's right, they're all male. Now let's look at the ladies. Trixie, subjugated an entire town. Nothing. Suri Polymer, lied, cheated, and betrayed another's trust. Nothing. Starlight Glimmer, destroyed Equestria by using forbidden, possibly illegal time magic at least 7 different times. Nothing. Oh boy, let me see now. Do I want to get into an argument over the blatant sexism against males in a little girl's cartoon? Let me see. Screw it. Let's just watch some more garble abuse. You're welcome. Now Spike and Ember have made it to the last part of the caverns, and how the hell did they get here? I swear, they're like that one NPC in role-playing games that always shows up to sell you stuff, give you advice, or save your game. Resident Evil has one, Bravely Default has one, Pokemon has one, Shining Force has one. I'm sure Final Fantasy has at least 12. Are they taking lessons or something?
Nothing.
I don't want to hear another word about Spike only helping Rarity to get laid. Not one more goddamn word. So Spike's new girlfriend breaks up with him, and he goes off with Twilight and Rarity to finish the gauntlet.
Just me? Or have we seen this crevice 3 times already?
It's kind of hard to tell. They all look the same.
Racist.
And just when Spike thinks he's made it, Garble comes in to crash the party by throwing him to his death. And now, garble abuse. Never gets old. That's when Ember comes in with a sudden change of heart, wanting to work things out.
Why'd you save me? That's what friends do. And I am. I mean, we are. I never should have left you back there. Please don't make me talk about my feelings.
Communication is very important. So now the writers make one last stumble in this episode. Twilight and Rarity are exposed, Garble spots them, and is about to attack. No, check that. He's about to attack Rarity and the mayor that did all of this effortlessly. I truly understand the need to make Spike useful, but making Twilight into an idiot at the same time? Bad form. So Ember goes to fight Garble, Spike reminds us how useless he is, and Twilight and Rarity let us know up front how useless they are. Damn it, Twilight and Ursa Minor! So anyway, Ember kicks Garble's punk ass, while Spike goes to retrieve the scepter and becomes the new Dragon Lord. And his first decree as Dragon Lord? Abuse the shit out of his power.
Go start your long journey home and give every dragon you see on the way a hug. Don't tell them why.
Aw, but that'll be super embarrassing.
I command you to do it.
Oh, I can't believe this.
It's pretty good revenge. But I still like a lot more. And of course, Spike holds on to the title for all of 45 seconds before he hands it over to Ember. Which sucks, but makes sense. I mean, if he kept it, he'd have to be written off the show. I mean, who would make a notoriously useless character suddenly awesome just to write him off the show the same episode? Ah, shit!
My home is in Equestria with my friends.
Well, you'll have at least one friend here, too. What are you doing?
It's called a hug.
Oh, I don't know if I like it, but okay.
Not sure if want. So, Ember becomes the new Dragon Lord. No, Dragon Lord. She wins Daddy's approval, Garble gets more humiliation, and our heroes walk home. And that was Gauntlet of Fire. And it pretty much rocked. This is easily Spike's best episode. He's a strong-willed, selfless, sarcastic character who's always ready to beat the odds, even when they aren't in his favor. We got to see more world building with the Dragonlands, and even though I was worried at first that this would just be a repeat of Dragon Quest, a widely disliked episode, it kinda wasn't. Sure, Garble and a few of the dragons are still pricks, but Ember wasn't. This takes something a lot of people believed about Dragon Quest and throws it completely out the window, which I rather like, and I hope it justifies Dragon Quest's existence a bit more. My only gripes are my earlier complaints about the guy villains getting harsher treatment, which I'm not going to rant about, please don't start a gender war in the comments, and the fact that instead of Spike being the pony's useless sidekick, this time it's Twilight and Rarity who were useless. It's a nice twist, but it didn't have to be. Twilight is one of the most powerful beings in Equestria now. Making her a damsel in distress, even for a moment, for plot convenience, was kind of uncool. I also wish they weren't so inconsistent about what they do and don't know about dragon culture. But really, what episode is perfect? And aside from all that, this was an excellent episode, with a lot of characterization for Spike. He's gotten a lot of good attention this season, and I hope they keep up this momentum. Garble is a typical villain character you love to hate. Ember's kind of a nice character, although I'm getting a bit tired of the Gildum motif we continued with Limestone Pie and Hearthbreakers. And the action scenes are pretty well done. In fact, you know what? Somebody put a clip show of all the scenes from the Gauntlet over the Attack on Titan theme song. That would be awesome. Overall, I'd have to say this is the best Spike episode of all time. And it's up there with Equestria Games and Power Ponies as one of my favorites of his. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the review. If you did, you know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, some such stuff. I'll be back with a new video soon. Until then, this is Lightning Sword. Stay quick, stay sharp, and thanks for watching.